So through this channel, I've been lucky enough to test out a lot of bikes. And through all of this testing, my love for different types of bikes has grown exponentially. And due to that, my bike collection has increased. And you probably look at this as a good thing, which it is. But one problem I've ran into is carrying these bikes. And I have two bike racks that I currently use. But I got a little annoyed having to swap them out, and I wanted to find a bike rack that would work with every single bike, regardless of design or weight, which is where the Yakima OnRamp LX comes in. So the OnRamp LX is Yakima's all-new hitch-mounted tray-style bike rack that's e-bike rated. It's based off the regular OnRamp model, but the LX has been beefed up and has some very welcome additional features. First is the increased weight rating, which has been increased to 80 pounds per bike on the LX, and it's also been RV tested for 80 pounds per bike as well. And if you do want to go off-roading with the LX, you can, but the weight rating is lowered to 48 pounds per bike. And the next thing that the OnRamp LX improves on is the wheelbases that it accommodates. The LX can accommodate wheelbases from anywhere from 34 inches to 54 inches, that if you have a cargo bike like the Radwagon, it can now fit on the LX. And what's pretty interesting is that the Cannondale Cargo Wagon Neo is one of the longest wheelbase cargo bikes that I could find. And it has a wheelbase of 52.4 inches, which means the Yakima's actually thought ahead. Just in case e-bikes do get longer, the LX will still fit them. So the system to extend the wheelbase is pretty simple to use. At the bottom of the rack, there's these dials. Just twist counterclockwise to loosen, then adjust the platforms to the wheelbase that you wish, and then twist clockwise to tighten. The platforms and trays feel very nice and high quality. The wheel trays measure 4.5 inches wide. And one really cool feature is that there's this groove in the wheel tray, so if you have a normal sized tire, then it'll still fit nicely without moving around. And talking about the trays, the straps on the OnRamp LX are the longest straps I've ever seen on a bike rack. I measured them and they're 19 inches long, which might seem like overkill, but I think the Yakima is just ensuring you never have to worry about the straps being too short, regardless of what type of wheels and tires your bike has. So the OnRamp LX uses a very simple design to both load and secure down your bikes. First, since this bike rack is e-bike rated, it anticipates that the user will be loading e-bikes. And one of the biggest issues with e-bikes is their weight, with it not being uncommon for e-bikes to weigh 60 or 70 pounds, sometimes even more. And the truth of the matter is though, is that these bikes are often too heavy to lift onto a rack without the help of another person. So to fix that, the OnRamp LX has a ramp for loading. And what's cool about this ramp is that one, it stows away on the rack, and two, it actually can be extended in case you have a vehicle that has a higher ground clearance. And extending is super easy. Just remove it from the rack and keep the knob handy. Then turn the ramp upside down and remove the other knob. Then separate the two pieces of the ramp, reinsert the bolt so that the ramp is now extended, screw on both knobs, and voila, now you have an extended ramp. Now insert the ramp into the holes in the rack. Push your bike up, lift up the frame clamp system, loosen the frame clamp, find a suitable place to hook it up to your bike, lock it in, tighten the frame clamp, and tighten down the wheel straps. Verify that your bike is secure, and you're done. And to take the bike down, you actually put the ramp in front of the bike, take all the straps and clamps off, lower the clamp system, and roll your bike down. Then when you're done, all you have to do is put your ramp back to its normal length and re-secure it onto the rack. Now you're probably thinking, if I push two bikes onto a ramp and they're both facing the same direction, won't the handlebars interfere with each other? I thought the same thing. Luckily for us, Yakima thought of that as well. And the OnRamp LX has a tiered system called stadium seating, where the inner bike tray is about 2 inches lower than the outside bike tray, which minimizes bike-to-bike interference. Also, the bike rack is actually slanted towards the vehicle at a 15-degree angle, so that when you're driving, the bike weight is actually leaning towards your vehicle, so there's less chance of the bike tipping over. And if you do have a malfunction, or you didn't strap the bikes down correctly, at least they fall into your vehicle instead of onto the highway where other cars can hit them. There's also a 3-position tilt on the LX. You have the folded up position when not in use, the middle position when the bike rack is in use, and a tilt position if you wish to access the trunk without having to remove the bikes. And one last little feature is a bottle opener for a post-ride beverage. So Yakima claims that this bike rack works with almost any type of bike, anywhere from a kid's bike all the way to an extended wheelbase cargo bike. So to test out this claim, I tried this bike rack with every single bike I can get my hands on, and I can verify these are the following bikes that worked: a kid's mountain bike, a BMX bike, a dirt jumper, a women's specific mountain bike, a full suspension mountain bike, a hardtail mountain bike, a road bike, an e-bike with normal sized tires, a fat tire e-bike, a step-through e-bike with fat tires, a mini e-bike with 14-inch tires, and even a retro moto-style e-bike. And the amazing part is, the bike rack worked with all of them. Now admittedly, I couldn't get my hands on an extended wheelbase cargo bike, but I have no doubt in my mind that it would work. So the last thing I want to discuss is the price, which at $900 is a little steep. And I had to really think to myself it was worth it. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm convinced that the price is actually justified. Let me explain. So when I only had my mountain bike, my old bike rack was a $300 hitch rack made for vehicles with spare tires. But then my wife and I got a step-through e-bike, which can't be used on this type of rack. So then I had to go get a $250 tray rack, but mine didn't come with the fat tire trays. So then I had to show over another $50 for fat tire trays. But if you have a step-through bike on this type of rack, then you have to buy an adapter to secure the bike down, which is another $70. So now I'm at $670 spent, and I have 2 bike racks, one that's on my Jeep, and the one has to sit inside my garage. But another problem I ran into is that e-bikes are getting heavier, with many models exceeding the max weight capacity for this rack. And picking up one of these 70-pound e-bikes is nearly impossible without blowing out your back. So the Yakima solved this for me. It fits every bike I tested on it. It has an 80-pound weight capacity per bike. I don't have to worry about picking up a bike since now I can roll it on. So the Yakima is a do-it-all bike rack that fits all my needs, and just put the cherry on top, has a lifetime warranty. And needless to say, this is now the only bike rack that I use. I'm getting rid of the other 2. But if you have any questions about this rack, please leave them in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great one.